In this video, I will go over several different tips and tricks in order to help improve your time management. Keep in mind that I will be discussing a variety of strategies and you should determine which works best for you. At some point in your schooling, you're probably given a traditional paper planner to use similar to this image. But this image shows you two different ways that you can set up your planner. The first is just a list of assignments that you need to do. It's not very specific, and honestly, it's very easy to disregard the assignments when you fill it out like that. But the bottom, which is the ideal way to fill out your planner, goes into much more detail. Besides just saying what classes you have homework in, it says what you need to do and when. There's also a checkbox, which you can use to keep track of whether or not you finished your assignments. Once anything is completed, you check it off. That way, if you're unable to complete all assignments that day, anything that's not checked off can be moved to the next day for you to finish. You just need to make sure if you choose to use a planner to keep track of your time that you actually make sure that you check it and use it daily. I know how easy it can be to sometimes just use it for a couple days and then have it live at the bottom of your backpack and forget about it. So if you find that might be the case, try putting a reminder in your phone, an alert or something that pops up every day that will remind you to use the planner. Another useful strategy is to hang a calendar up on your wall that you fill out with all assignment due dates. You should fill it out at the beginning of the semester after you receive all the syllabi for your classes. You want to include things like when quizzes or exams are, when you have any presentations or projects due, or when any papers are due. Essentially, you really want to include all the major assignments that are going to have a major impact on your grade in the class. But if you have the space for it, feel free to add any other homework assignments or anything else that you find important. But the goal behind filling it out early on in the semester with all those major assignments is so you can plan ahead for any weeks that might be busier. As you can see here, there's one week where there is an exam, a paper, and a lab report due. But the week before that, there's just a rough draft due. So hopefully you can utilize that week that is less busy to accomplish more tasks rather than trying to cram it all in and be stressed during the week that you have many things due. A time diary is a worksheet you can fill out to visualize your weekly schedule. You can input things like when you're in class, when you're working, and when you have club meetings, or anything else that might have set times that you want to keep track of. After you fill in those items, you can go back and see the times that you have white gaps or breaks in your schedule. Maybe you have a 2-hour gap in between some of your classes. So instead of taking a nap or watching Netflix, you could utilize that time to do homework. It's really important to plan out your schedule to utilize those gaps and not save everything you need to do until the end of the day after all your classes. You'll be much happier to get some of your assignments done sooner rather than later at night. And hopefully then you'll have more free time in your evenings to do things you enjoy. And also hopefully that means you won't have to stay up super late trying to complete any assignments that you are working on. This is an example from Google Calendar, but the calendar that comes with your phone can be set up similarly. I recommend using Google Calendar though because you can sync it up through your Fitchburg email. Here's an example of what a basic week might look like on your calendar. As you can see, each class has its own color, as well as work and club meetings have their own color. I recommend color coding like this just because it makes it easier to visualize things. Filling out your calendar like this is very similar to the time diary I just previously mentioned, but it's more of a digital way of doing that. So here you can see it's the same Google Calendar, but it's much more detailed. I added in blocks that you can do homework or go to the library. I added in lunch times in the afternoon just because you want to make sure you do plan time for meals. And I even added in a couple mornings to go to the gym. Basically, you can add in whatever's important to you and something that you plan to do regularly that you can schedule your time around. Also, with Google Calendar, you can have reminders sent to your phone before each event, and you can input reminders for assignment due dates as well. Another useful strategy is using the Reminders app on your cell phone. As you can see here, you can input the details. So for example, say you have a stats exam on September 21st. Then you can set a description. So you can say the description is what the chapters are covered on the exam. After that, you can set the reminder to remind you on a specific day and a specific time. So here I have the reminder set up to go off a week prior to the exam in the evening time when I know I would be doing homework. And you can also have the reminder pop up as repeatedly as you would like. It can be a one-time thing, it can be every day, every other day, whatever works best for you. So then the image on the right-hand side shows what it will look like once you've set that reminder. And when you have multiple reminders set, there'll be a whole list of them there. So keep in mind, it can be just to help you remind you that you have assignments or exams coming up, but also if you seem to forget to check Blackboard or email, you could have a daily reminder pop up on your phone to help you remember to do that. There are numerous time management websites and apps out there, and I have two different ones that I'm going to go over with you that I have found to be useful. So this is the first one. It's called Trello. And with Trello, you can basically make your own little checklist or to-do list, and each one that you make is called an individual board. So this is kind of what a main page might look like on Trello, but there are different ways you can organize your lists. So I will go into that in more detail now. So first, you could have just a basic to-do list for a week. So that could include any assignments coming up that week that you need to get done. Next, you could just make a board for each particular class. So then you can input all the homework assignments, quizzes, exams, anything else that's due that would be important to have listed for each class. And then lastly, you could also set it up for specific assignments like a research paper. So research papers take a long time to do, and you want to make sure that you plan enough time to be able to do them. So by planning deadlines for finishing each part of the paper, you can help keep yourself organized. So here you can see there's a date to decide on a topic, date to have the research done, even breaking up the actual writing of it into separate days, all making sure it's edited and done before the final due date. And one board I did not create on here, but you can have a separate board that just says done or completed assignments. And anything that you finish gets moved to that board. So that can be on your to-do list under your individual classes or for an individual assignment. Another useful app or website is called My Study Life. So I will go over some overviews of what that looks like. So first you have a dashboard. And with a dashboard, you can see the classes that you're taking that day, any assignments or tasks that are due that day, and you can also see what's coming up the next day. There are also calendars where you can input your classes to keep track of your schedule. You can look at a week view, or also in the monthly view, you can click on each individual day and see what classes you're taking, but also see if you have something due. And then you can also use the app to help keep track of assignment progress, and you can see how much you have left for something. There are other features as well. These are some of the highlights of the app. So last but not least, I am bringing back this image of the more detailed Google Calendar. So something that you want to keep in mind that it's really important to build breaks into your schedule. So I don't specifically have breaks written on this calendar, but you can see that every day there are those white gaps still on the calendar. So those gaps in time can be used as your breaks, because it's really important to still take breaks really for your mental health. You don't want to try and do a lot of assignments all at once, all day, constantly, because you'll just feel very stressed and overwhelmed. You have to find the time to still do the things you enjoy and things that help you unwind and relax. Just don't let the breaks become extremely long and turn into hours on end of scrolling through TikTok or watching Netflix, because that's when procrastination happens, and that's something you want to try to avoid. So if you have any questions or would like to discuss any more of these strategies in detail, please feel free to reach out to the Academic Coaching and Tutoring Center, and we'd be more than happy to help.